Emergency alert. Stay at the house. Keep quiet. My name is Ethan Cross, and I'm writing these words because someone needs to know the truth about what really happened at Ravenbrook. Not the clean, edited version the press will stuff into your head. Not the cover story, but the naked truth. If you are reading this, there can be only two possibilities. I'm dead, or they haven't found me yet. It was a Tuesday afternoon in July. The perfect kind of summer evening when the heat finally recedes and everything seems strangely calm. I was working late, as usual, lying under Mrs. Patterson's beat-up old Honda Civic, trying to breathe life into a transmission that should have been replaced 3 years ago. My back hurt, my hands were greasy, and I was wondering whether I should charge the full price or give her a discount, just out of sympathy for a widow. That was the kind of thing I was concerned about back then. Trivial things. But now, I would give anything to be bothered by them again. I'm 35 years old, born and raised in Ravenbrook, a small town of about 40,000 people, where everyone knows everyone and nothing of note ever happens. My father worked at the steel mill until it closed. Then he drank until he died. When I was just 19, he left me his house, a pile of debt, and his toolbox. I kept the tools, sold the house to pay off the debt, and opened Cross Automotive Repair on the east side of town. I've been fixing cars ever since. Fixing machines is always easier than fixing people. The garage used to be a gas station in the 70s. The gas pumps are long gone, but I still have the old sign out front, a rusty metal arrow pointing into nothingness. I always found it to be a perfect fit for my life. That afternoon, I had the garage door wide open. The summer breeze carried the smell of grilled meat from the nearby neighborhood. From the park a few blocks away, I could hear a basketball game, the laughter, the kids arguing about fouls. Someone was mowing their lawn, the normal sounds of a quiet neighborhood. I was unaware that this would be the last time I ever heard them. "Ethan, are you still open?" I rolled out from under the Honda and saw Maya Chen standing in the doorway. She was still in her nurse uniform, looking exhausted after a double shift at the hospital. Maya is my best friend, a nurse at Ravenbrook General, and one of the few people I know who genuinely wants to help others. We've known each other since high school. Maya knew about my father, about my brother Jamie, who had disappeared 7 years earlier, and about the dark parts of my life I'd never told anyone else. "For you, always," I said, wiping my hands on a useless rag. She held up a paper bag with a tired but warm smile. "Figured you'd still be here. Brought tacos." My stomach immediately growled, loud enough for her to hear. Maya laughed. "Knew it! You skipped lunch again, didn't you?" I went to wash my hands at the sink in the corner while she put the food on my desk. An old, chipped desk, a coffee maker that only worked half the time, and 2 folding chairs. Not fancy, but it was my world. "Long day?" I asked, grabbing a taco. 3 car accidents, a heart attack, and a kid who stuck a Lego piece so deep up his nose he needed a specialist," she sighed. "Just a normal Tuesday." We ate in comfortable silence. The radio played a strange pop song. Outside, the basketball game was still playing loudly. Everything was normal, safe. "Have you heard from Jamie?" Maya asked, her voice soft. The familiar question. She asked it every few weeks. Jamie was just 16 when he left home one afternoon and never returned. The police closed the case. Runaway. That was 7 years ago. I still look for him in every crowd. "Nothing," I replied. The only answer I always have. Maya just nodded. I was reaching for a second taco when the radio interrupted. The song stopped abruptly with a piercing sound that made us both wince. The emergency alert system. Maya and I looked at each other confused. No storm, no weather warning. The sound lasted for 10 seconds, then stopped. A voice rang out, flat and emotionless, a mechanical voice that never sounded human. "Emergency alert. Attention Ravenbrook residents. This is not a test. Effective immediately. All residents must stay indoors. Lock all doors and windows. Turn off all outdoor lights. Remain silent. Do not leave your premises. Do not respond to any voices or sounds coming from outside. Do not investigate any disturbances. Remain silent and await further instructions. Then the message repeated. "What the hell?" Maya stood up, eyes fixed on the radio. And then all the phones in the area rang at once. My phone, Maya's, and the phones of people nearby. The vibration, the message alert, the ringtone all blended together into a chaotic, creepy melody. I picked up my phone. On the screen was the same emergency warning, but with an extra line that made my heart clench. This is an official government warning. Failure to comply could result in serious harm or death. "Ethan, what's going on?" Maya's voice trembled slightly. I walked to the garage door and looked out. Everything was still so calm it was scary. At the park, 3 teenagers were staring at their phones. I recognized one, C.B. Jenkins, a cocky 17-year-old. Down the block, Mr. Price, a widower, was standing on his porch, holding his phone with a bewildered look. Across the street, Holly and David Martinez were unloading groceries. Their 2-year-old daughter Emma was still in her car seat. "Maya," I said softly, "look up at the sky." She walked over to me, and I heard her take a sharp breath. The sky was no longer right. The familiar blue was melting into something else. Blurred streaks of red spread across the horizon like cracks in giant glass. They pulsed slowly, and looking at them for too long made my head spin. "What is that?" Maya whispered. "I don't know." Behind us, the radio continued its chilling message. Then a dog barked somewhere, fiercely, in panic. The barking echoed for a few seconds and then stopped. Not faded, just cut off. "We need to go inside." Maya grabbed my arm. I slammed my hand on the garage door control button. The door started rolling down. In the split second before it closed, I saw CB and his friends running out of the park, running for their lives. Mr. Price staggered back into his house. David Martinez threw the shopping bags and grabbed Emma from the car seat as Holly fumbled with the key, her hands shaking too much to get it in the lock. And at the end of the street, I saw something moving. Tall, crooked. It moved wrong. It jerked and stuttered, like a film with missing frames. The garage door slammed shut with a heavy thud. "We need light," Maya said, her voice matter-of-fact. I fumbled for the switch. The fluorescent light filled the garage. Everything looked exactly as it had 5 minutes ago. "My phone," I said, my voice steady. "See if you can get online." Maya pulled out her phone. I did too. "No signal," I said. "Dead." I tried calling 911. The line rang, then cut off. "Nothing," Maya said, her voice catching. "No internet, no cell service, like everything just stopped." "Okay," I said, trying to sort my thoughts. The alert said, "Stay inside, lock the door, keep quiet." We do that. We wait. "Ethan," Maya's voice was tight, "what did you see out there?" I didn't want to put the image into words. "There was something," I said slowly. "I don't know what. It was tall, and it moved wrong, as if it were skipping through space instead of walking." She was silent. "And the sky, those red cracks. This wasn't a gas leak. This was different. The screams had died. The basketball game had died. No cars, no dogs, just that dull, metallic voice from the radio." "We should check the windows," I said. The garage had only 2 small high windows. I pulled up the stepladder. Both were locked. Through the glass, I could see the street, now completely empty. In the Martinez driveway, the groceries were still on the ground. A bag of oranges had burst, some rolling slowly toward the gutter. Then I saw movement from between the houses across the street. It was the thing I'd glimpsed before. Now I saw clearly. It was at least 7 feet tall, with an excessively thin body, angular, as if bones were trying to push through its skin. Its skin was pale, smooth as porcelain, but cracked with 1,000 tiny fissures that glowed faintly red. And its face, where its eyes, nose, and mouth should have been, there was just a flat surface covered in black symbols. They shifted, rotated, changed shape every time I looked, creating confusing patterns that made my eyes sting and my head ache. It didn't move. One moment it was by the house, the next it was in the middle of the road, then by the Martinez car. Not moving, just appearing. "Maya, get up here." She climbed up next to me. The creature stopped moving, as if listening. Then its mouth opened, a cut across the lower part of its face, deep and black. From the mouth came a sound, a low, steady hum. The fluorescent lights overhead began to flicker. Each flash coincided with the hum. My phone screen flickered, pixels distorting. My head throbbed, as if something were pressing from inside. "Get down," Maya hissed, yanking me off the ladder. "Don't look at it. Don't look at its face." We crouched low. I could still hear the buzzing. It vibrated through the walls, through the floor, into my bones. My vision blurred. The room spun. Then it stopped. The silence that followed was more terrible than the sound. After what seemed like an eternity, I climbed back up. The street was silent again. "It's gone," I said. "Where did it go?" Maya asked. "I don't..." And then the banging started. Boom! Heavy punches on the garage door, rattling the metal. "Ethan, please let me in," a man's voice trembling. I recognized it. CB, the kid from the park. "Please, they're coming. They're right behind me." Maya gripped my arm. "The warning, Ethan. Do not react to voices outside." "It's CB. He's just a kid." "He was a kid, Maya." I moved toward the door, my hand reaching for the control button. "Ethan, wait!" Maya's voice was sharp. "Think, why was the warning so specific?" I hesitated. Outside, CB was still pounding. "Please, I can hear them. Oh God, they're coming. Ethan, please." Every instinct urged me to open the door. "Ethan, if you open that door," Maya whispered, "we could be letting something else in. We don't know if it's really him." The pounding stopped. A moment of cold silence. Then the voice started again, but different. Calm. Too calm. "Ethan, I know you're in there. I hear you breathing. Open the door for me." The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. The emotion was gone. No fear, just a flat, empty voice. "Ethan Cross, open the door." Maya's fingers dug into my arm. "That's not him." "Ethan, let me in. I'm cold. Don't you want to help me? You fix everything, right? Fix this, Ethan. Open the door." The voice began to distort. The words dragged out. It faded from human, and below it I heard that buzzing sound, soft at first, then growing louder. "Open the door, Ethan. Open, open, open." The last words blended together, dissolving into that distorted sound. The fluorescent lights flickered in time with the buzzing. I backed away from the door. And then silence. Complete silence. 30 seconds passed. Then a minute. "It's gone," I whispered. Before Maya could answer, something slammed into the garage door, so hard the whole building shook. Boom! 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 Metal screeched. Bolts rattled. Whatever was out there was trying to break in. And then it stopped. "We can't stay here," Maya said. "This is a metal garage. If those things want in, they will get in." "Where do we go?" "Your house. 2 blocks. Brick walls, a basement. It's better than this." She was right. But going out meant being out there with them. "We'll have to run," I said. 2 blocks. 3 minutes at full speed." 3 minutes out there could feel like 3 hours, Maya replied. Boom! Another more powerful impact. The metal cracked. "We don't have a choice," I said, grabbing my truck keys. "I'll get a crowbar." She grabbed the tire iron, and I grabbed a hammer. I pulled the keys from my pocket and stopped. Damn it! The truck? The engine? Maya's eyes widened. "The Martinez car. The engine died as soon as those things got close." "Right." I took a deep breath. "Then we run." I pressed the garage door opener. The door rolled up slowly, emitting a long metallic screech. I held my breath and looked out. The street was still empty. The sun was low, the light stretching into long, long shadows. In the sky, the red cracks pulsed like a giant heart. The door was only halfway up when I saw them. 3 of them. They stood at the end of the street, completely still, their symbol-covered faces all turned towards us. "Run!" I yelled, and we dashed out. Immediately, the temperature dropped. My breath turned to white smoke. It didn't make sense in mid-July. The air was thick, heavy, like breathing through wet cloth. The three creatures remained where they were, just watching. "Don't look at them, Ethan," Maya yelled, squeezing my hand. "Just run." We ran. My house was 2 blocks north. We dashed down the middle of the street. Behind me, I heard a dry movement. Not footsteps, but the sound of air twisting, reality distorting as they moved. We'd just passed the first block when Maya suddenly pulled me aside, forcing us behind a parked car. One of them had appeared out of nowhere, blocking the street ahead. It stood still, its head tilted at an unnatural angle. A low buzzing sound came from its mouth. My phone vibrated violently in my pocket, the screen flickering. The streetlight above flickered, and then went out. "Gotta go around," Maya whispered, "through the backyards." We ducked between the houses. The first backyard belonged to the Hendersons, a swing set, a grill on the patio. Their back door was wide open. "Keep going," Maya whispered. But I'd seen inside. Mrs. Henderson was on the kitchen floor, or what was left of her. I'd seen car accidents. This was worse. Her body looked like it had been ripped apart from the inside, skin torn in strange, unnatural ways, bones bent at impossible angles. Her face, oh God, her face was frozen in an expression of absolute horror. "Ethan," Maya tugged at my hand, "we can't help her. We have to keep going." I forced myself to look away. We climbed over the fence into the next lot, and then another. Each yard was empty, each house dark. But everywhere were the remnants of a life just interrupted. A bicycle on its side, the front wheel still spinning slowly. We were in the third yard when we heard crying. A high, desperate child's cry. Emma Martinez, Holly and David's daughter. The sound was coming from their house. "We have to help," I said. "Ethan, no, the warning." "It's a baby, Maya, a real baby. I saw them carry her in." Maya hesitated. She was a nurse. 2 minutes. We go in, we find her, we get out. We approached the house. The crying was coming from the living room. "Emma?" I called softly. "It's Ethan, your neighbor." The crying didn't stop. We followed the sound into the living room, and I saw it. Emma's car seat lay on its side on the floor, empty. But the crying still came from it. The sound emanated from the fabric as if from nowhere and everywhere at once. Then I realized the crying wasn't natural. It repeated itself in a 3-second loop. A stuck recording. "It's a trap," I said, getting up. The crying stopped immediately. The silence was suffocating. Then it started. The buzzing. "Upstairs!" Maya screamed. We dashed for the back door, but before we got there, the thing appeared at the foot of the stairs. One of the porcelain-skinned creatures, the symbols on its face spun faster and faster. The buzzing from its mouth exploded. The baby monitor on the kitchen counter exploded, sending a shower of sparks. We didn't run to the back door. We dashed through the window, shattering the glass. A searing pain exploded on my arm as warm blood spilled, but I didn't stop. We ran and jumped the fence. Behind us, the distorted sound of air tearing echoed. "Where is your house?" Maya yelled. "Next!" We turned the corner of my street, and I had never felt so relieved as when I saw my dilapidated old house. Almost there. Then I saw Mr. Price standing on his porch waving frantically. His face was pale, his eyes wide with panic. "Help me," he shouted. "It's trapped!" We froze, and for that moment they were there. 4 creatures emerged from the gaps between the houses, surrounding Mr. Price's house. The old man began to scream. "Please don't leave me! Help me!" I took a step forward, but Maya squeezed my arm. "Ethan, we can't. If we go back, we'll all die. He's old, and we're the last. We must live." Mr. Price saw us hesitating. He understood we were abandoning him. "You bastards, you cowards! Don't leave me! Don't—" A creature lunged at him, so fast my eyes couldn't follow. Just a blur of porcelain skin. Then silence. Mr. Price fell. Even from a distance, I could see his body being torn into distorted, impossible angles. The four creatures turned their heads towards us in unison. The symbols on their face spun like a storm. The buzzing rose. "Maya, the door, quick!" We sprinted the last 30 feet. I fumbled with the key, my hand shaking. Behind us, the buzzing rose. Streetlights exploded one by one, raining glass. Car alarms blared and died. They were coming. The key turned. The door opened. We tumbled inside. I slammed the door, locked it, bolted it, pulled the chain. Maya pushed the couch against the door while I rushed to the windows, locking them, drawing the curtains. "Basement," I said quickly. "Down to the basement. No windows, concrete walls." We were only halfway there when a crash sounded. The front door shook violently, the wooden frame cracking. Another crash, then another. "Go!" I pushed Maya toward the basement stairs. We almost rolled down, stumbling in the dark until I found the light switch. The sickly yellow light of a single bulb flickered. Cold concrete walls, a water heater, cluttered boxes. Above, the front door burst open with a terrifying sound. Then, heavy footsteps. Slow, no longer jerky. They were inside. Maya and I crawled behind the smallest, strongest desk I could find. I could hear them moving through each room, furniture being knocked over, doors opening and slamming, and the buzzing never stopped. The flickering bulb made my head ache. They were in the house, hunting us, and we were trapped. Then the footsteps stopped. Right at the top of the stairs, not moving, just standing there, waiting. The buzzing grew louder. I felt it in my chest with every heartbeat. The ceiling light bulb flickered rhythmically. Maya pressed close to me. We were both trembling. I didn't know whose heart was beating faster. My fingers tightened around the hammer. Then the footsteps sounded again, but this time they didn't go down, they left, back through the house. The sound of broken objects, then silence. "Are they gone?" Maya whispered. "I don't know." We sat there waiting, 5 minutes, then 10. The silence stretched, suffocating. "We can't stay down here forever," Maya said softly. "No food, no water. If we stay, we'll die too, just more slowly." She was right. I looked around the basement, my dad's old toolbox, some camping gear, a case of bottled water I'd bought months ago. "At least we have water," I said. I pointed to the far corner where an old wooden door set close to the ceiling led to the backyard. "There's a storm cellar exit. If we're lucky, we can escape through there, find a working car, and get out of town." Maya looked at me. "You think there are any working cars left?" "I don't know," I said, "but staying here is definitely not an option." We waited another hour listening. Nothing. The house above remained silent, but from outside, distant sounds occasionally filtered in, screams, banging, and that buzzing, not just from one direction, but from across the city. "Okay," Maya whispered. "Let's try the storm cellar." We moved slowly through the basement. The storm cellar door hadn't been opened in years. I put my hand on the handle and pushed. The hinges screeched, a long, high-pitched groan that echoed like a scream in the silence. We both froze, listening. When there was no response, I pushed the door open completely. The night air rushed in, cold and heavy with the smell of metal. The sky above was completely black. The red cracks had spread everywhere, filling the sky like the shattered glass of a dying world. They pulsed, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. The red light fell on the backyard, empty, lifeless. "Clear," I whispered. We climbed out, crouching low. My neighborhood looked like a war zone, windows broken, doors hanging. Mr. Price's body still lay on the porch, illuminated by the flickering red light from the sky. I turned away, trying to get the image out of my head. "There, Maya pointed down the street to the Johnsons' driveway. Their SUV is still there. We moved quietly between yards, using every piece of cover we could. The silence was thick. No insects, no night birds, just the distant hum from across the city. We were halfway to the SUV when we heard voices whispering urgently. "Over here," Maya whispered, pulling me behind a fence. I peeked through the leaves. A group of about 6 people was gathered on someone's front lawn. I recognized some faces. Holly Martinez, no David, no Emma. CB, Caleb, the young man who lived down the street. This time I was sure it was him, not a copy. 2 others I didn't know. And with them was Mrs. Patterson, the widow I used to fix cars for. She was crying, clutching a baseball bat. "We have to go with them," I said softly. "Safer with more people." Before we could decide, one of the strangers, a woman in her 40s, stood up. "We can't just sit here and wait." She was talking too loud. "My husband is out there, my children. I have to find them." "Keep your voice down," CB hissed. "They hear the noise." "I don't care," the woman screamed, her voice breaking. "Paul! Sarah! Mom's here!" "Shut up!" Holly grabbed her arm. The woman yanked free. "Let me go! Paul! Sarah!" Then she ran, straight down the street, screaming her family's names. It took about 10 seconds for 3 creatures to appear on the road ahead of her, phasing out of nowhere. She kept running. The buzzing grew heavy. She fell to her knees, clutching her head, blood pouring from her nose and ears. Her screams broke. The creatures rushed in. I turned away. The sound alone was enough to make my stomach drop. When I opened my eyes again, she was gone. Not a trace, as if she had never existed. The rest of the group stood frozen. Then CB waved at us. "Hey, you two, get over here." I looked at Maya. She nodded. We dashed across the gap. As soon as we reached them, Holly grabbed my arm. "Where's David? Where's Emma?" "David? He went out for formula when this all started. He never came back," she stammered. "What about you?" "The baby. I heard her crying, but..." No need to say more. She understood. "I'm sorry," I said, knowing it was worthless. "We need a plan," CB interrupted. "We can't just sit here and wait to die." "The emergency alerts had to stay inside," Mrs. Patterson's voice trembled. "Staying inside won't save anyone," the stranger said, dried blood on his shirt. "I saw them tear my apartment building apart. The walls couldn't keep them out." That's when we heard it. The deep rumble of an engine. A bright white light split the darkness from the south. "Is it the army?" CB said, his eyes lit with hope. A convoy was approaching. Not military vehicles. These were different. Black, armored vehicles with no numbers, no flags, no symbols. They slid slowly down the street, their headlights sweeping over the ruined houses like cold, searching eyes. "Over here," Mrs. Patterson said, waving frantically. "They're here to save us." "Wait," Maya grabbed her hand. "Something's wrong." She was right. One of the vehicles stopped. Soldiers poured out, all black tactical uniforms, helmets with black visors, no logos, no names. And they did not attack the creatures. They worked beside them. I saw 2 creatures standing in the middle of the road, and the soldiers passed by as if they were air. One soldier carried a strange device, like a metal cage on a long pole. He raised it and herded one of the creatures into the back of an armored vehicle. "They're capturing them," I said, my voice trembling. "They aren't coming to save anyone. They're collecting them." "That doesn't make sense," CB shook his head. "It makes a terrible kind of sense," I said. "These creatures didn't just appear. They were released, and now someone is coming to collect them." One of the soldiers turned his head, looking straight at us. He raised a hand, and immediately 4 others turned, They began walking towards us. "Stay calm," the lead soldier said, his voice distorted by an electronic filter. "We're here to evacuate civilians. You'll be taken to a safe area." "Thank God," Mrs. Patterson exhaled, starting toward them. "Stop!" Maya grabbed her hand. "Look at them! Really look at them!" I did. The soldiers didn't see us as people. Their eyes were cold and empty. They looked at us as specimens, as if we were part of this experiment too. At the back of the compartment, separated by a metal fence, were them, the creatures, captured but still alive, humans and monsters, locked in the same truck. "We're not going with you," I said, hoarsely. The soldier's helmet turned toward me. "It wasn't an option. All civilians must be evacuated. Come with us now, or we'll use force." "Fuck this!" CB backed away. Two soldiers rushed forward, grabbing him. He struggled, screaming, but they dragged him like a bag of sand. "Let go!" Holly screamed, rushing toward them. Their leader raised his weapon. Not a gun. Something else. A device that looked like a taser but bigger. A high, piercing whine came from the barrel. "Run!" I shouted. We scattered. I grabbed Maya's hand and ran between the houses. Behind me there was a scream, a clash, and a screech that tore the air. A flash of light cut above me. A tree branch exploded into splinters. Behind us, the sound of boots, a cold rhythm. And worse, I heard them. That confused buzzing sound. The soldiers had released the creatures to hunt us. "There!" Maya pointed ahead. A basement window, shattered. We dashed forward, slid through the narrow opening and crashed hard onto the cold concrete. The basement wasn't empty. 3 people were there. A man, a woman, and a teenage girl. "Don't move," the man said. His hand shaking, he held a gun. "We're not infected," I said, holding up my hands. "We're just trying to survive like you." That's what the last person said. His voice was hoarse. Just before he changed. "Changed?" Maya asked. The woman in the corner spoke, her voice flat and hollow. My neighbor, she was normal. Then she started scratching herself, said she could feel something underneath. And then her face, her skin cracked open and grew those symbols, just like them. She started making that sound. "They don't just kill people," the man whispered. "Some of them, they transformed them. We saw 3 on our street." "How long?" Maya asked, her voice artificially calm. "From human to changing?" "Hours, maybe less. We don't know." Overhead, the sound of furniture being knocked over. They were searching every room. It was only a matter of time before they found the basement door. "There must be another way out," I said, looking around. But there was no hidden hatch, no other window. "There isn't," he replied, his voice heavy with judgment. The teenage girl began to cry. "I don't want to change," she sobbed. The footsteps stopped, right at the top of the stairs. Then a creak. The basement door opened. "Behind the furnace," Maya whispered. The 6 of us hurried back, pressing into the darkness. A soldier reached the bottom step. His black visor reflected the tail light. "This is the final warning," his voice distorted. "All civilians must appear immediately for safe evacuation, otherwise we will extract by force." None of us moved. The soldier stood still. He reached to his waist and took out a small device. He pushed a button. A buzzing sound exploded. Not from him, but from the stairs behind him. A white, porcelain-skinned creature stepped down. The symbols on its face rotated. Its movements were jerky. One moment it was at the foot of the stairs, the next it was in the middle of the basement. The buzzing from its mouth increased. The light bulb on the ceiling exploded. Glass rained down. Red light from the window flooded in, dyeing the space in blood. The creature began to search. It didn't see with eyes. It sensed heat, movement, sound. Right next to me, the teenage girl trembled, trying to hold her breath. Her mother covered her daughter's mouth, but it was too late. The creature's head swung toward us. The symbols on its face stopped moving, locked into a shape so incomprehensible it made my eyes sting. The buzzing intensified. I felt a burning sensation in my head. Something wet slid down my lips. Blood. My nose was bleeding. The creature moved, jerking through space. The man raised his gun and pulled the trigger. Bang! The deafening explosion echoed. The bullet lodged in the creature's chest. It didn't stop. It didn't bleed. It didn't react. 2 more contorted movements and it was right in front of the man. I couldn't see clearly. Only a short, piercing scream, followed by the wet sound of something being torn apart. The woman screamed. The girl screamed. Run! Maya pulled me up, dragging me back toward the stairs. We ran. Behind us, the screams mixed with the buzzing. Maya and I dashed past the soldier. He didn't try to stop us. He just stood there calmly, watching his experiment progress. We crashed through the front door and fell into a living nightmare. The street was filled with them, soldiers and creatures working together in cold harmony. I saw Mrs. Patterson being dragged toward a truck, still clutching the baseball bat. I saw CB locked in a metal cage, blood running down his face. And then I saw Holly. She was kneeling in the middle of the street, her body convulsing violently, her skin cracking. She was changing. Please God, Maya gasped. They infected her. They're infecting people on purpose. And then it all clicked. This wasn't an invasion. It wasn't an accident. Ravenbrook was a testing ground. They, the soldiers or whoever was controlling them, had brought these creatures here, released them, and now they were watching, recording, learning how people died, how people changed. Every reaction, every scream, it was all data. We were guinea pigs, all 40,000 people in this city. The blockade, I said hoarsely. That's why no one came. They've sealed Ravenbrook. Then we'll find a way through it, Maya said, eyes blazing. Go out and tell the world what's going on here. We turned into the alleys, avoiding the main roads. 3 blocks later, we found CB. He was huddled behind a bloody trash can, his face pale but alive. Thank God, he sobbed. I thought I was the only one left. How did you get out? Maya asked. They were loading us into the truck, he panted. Then one of the creatures broke free. Everyone panicked, and I ran. What do we do now? He asked. Out of the city, I said. Find the blockade. Find a way through. We reached the edge of Ravenbrook as dawn was just beginning to break. The city limits were sealed off by rows of military vehicles, concrete barriers, and armed guards. Real soldiers this time, American flags on their shoulders. But that offered no safety. They wouldn't let anyone out. From our hiding place, we saw a family of 4 approach the fence, arms raised, begging to be let out. The soldiers immediately raised their guns, shouting orders to turn back. The man, the father, desperately dashed for the barrier. A shot rang out. He fell. Instant death. They don't let anyone leave, Maya said, her voice almost a whisper. In their eyes, we're all infected. There has to be some weak spot, CB said. A gap, a small hole we can squeeze through. We spent hours working our way along the perimeter, but everywhere it was the same. Fences, sentries, orders to kill on sight. Until we found them, a group of about 20 people hiding in an abandoned warehouse, and among them, David Martinez, Holly's husband. David, I couldn't believe it. It should have been. His eyes were haunted. I went to the store. I hid in the freezer. When I came out, Holly? Emma? I couldn't speak. My face said it all. No. David fell to his knees. An older woman stepped closer, her voice firm. 3 new arrivals? Yes, I replied. Captain Sarah Reeves, retired. I am organizing these survivors. We're planning a breakout. Breaking through is suicide, I said. Staying here is also suicide, she said. At least my way, we died trying. She led us deeper into the warehouse. There is a weak point to the east, a gap in the fence near the old quarry. If we move quickly and create a diversion, some of us might get through. David volunteered immediately. No, David, I started. He interrupted me. My family is gone. Let me do this. Let me save another family. 5 others volunteered to go with him. They would move west, creating chaos. We waited. Every second seemed like an hour. In the darkness, Maya's hand found mine. Then we heard gunshots, screams. The diversion team had begun. Soldiers near our area immediately reacted, running towards the chaos. Now, Reeves yelled. Go, go, go. We rushed out of the darkness. 14 people, running at full speed toward a 3-foot gap in the concrete fence. Soldiers shouted. Bullets exploded. David and his team were buying us time with their lives. CB came first, crawling through the narrow gap, then me. Concrete scratched my shoulder, but I made it. Outside Ravenbrook. The others continued to pass. 8, 9, 10. Then the soldiers spotted us. Captain Reeves was still on the other side, helping an elderly man through. The bullet hit her shoulder. She staggered. Keep running, Reeves shouted. The man bent down to help her, but Reeves pushed him away. Another bullet, this time in the chest. She collapsed. The man crossed the gap just as the soldiers rushed in. Go! Maya pulled my hand. We can't help them. We ran into the woods. Behind us the gunfire continued. Then a scream rang out. A woman, somewhere in the shadows. The scream was cut off abruptly, swallowed by a familiar, wet sound. It wasn't just the soldiers, I panted. Those creatures, they're outside the containment zone. When dawn came, there were only 5 of us left. Me, Maya, CB, the old man, and a young girl named Sarah. We did it, CB breathed, a wry smile on his face. We really got out. But were we really out? I turned back to look at Ravenbrook. From this distance, I could see the entire city. A perfect circle of barricades, military vehicles, helicopters, and above it all, the red cracks, pulsing steadily, contained by an invisible dome that ended exactly at the edge of the city. They're not trying to stop it from spreading, I whispered. They're studying it. Ravenbrook is an experiment. Then we have to tell everyone, Sarah spoke for the first time. And we tried. God, we tried. We stopped a state trooper 20 miles from Ravenbrook. He saw us, filthy and bloody, and heard us babbling about monsters and conspiracies. They took us to the hospital, separated us, interrogated us. No one believed us. They said Ravenbrook was quarantined due to a chemical leak. All residents safely evacuated. They kept us in the hospital for 3 days, treating us for trauma-induced hallucinations. On the 4th day, the men in suits appeared. Mr. Cross, the man said, his voice cold, I understand you've been through something traumatic, but spreading false information about government operations, inciting panic, those are serious crimes. Do we understand each other? The threat was clear. Speak up and disappear. Keep quiet and live. Within a week, we were all released. They gave us new IDs, some money, and strong encouragement to move far away. CB said he was going to California. Sarah chose Florida. I don't know if they kept quiet or if they were silenced in a more permanent way. Maya and I stayed together. We made it to a small town in Oregon, a new job, a small house, a pretend life of peace. But every night I dream. It's been 3 months. Ravenbrook no longer exists on paper. If you look for it, you'll find a few dry files. A small town, slowly abandoned. Disbanded as a municipality in 2023. Nothing to investigate. But I know the truth. 40,000 people lived in Ravenbrook. 40,000 people were sacrificed, used, and erased. I'm writing these lines because someone must know. Maya told me to stop, that it's too dangerous, that they're watching us. Maybe she's right. Every strange car parked on my street could be them, but I won't stop. And this is what terrifies me the most. I don't think Ravenbrook was the first place. Those soldiers in black, they were too professional, as if they had done this before. How many other cities? How many other testing grounds? How many survivors have been silenced? I do know one thing. It will happen again. So here is my warning, what I wish someone had told us. If you hear an emergency alert that doesn't make sense, a warning telling you to keep quiet, not to respond to the voice outside, do not listen to it. Do not wait for help. Run. Don't pack, don't hesitate, don't turn back. Just run. And when they come, do not believe the men in uniform. Don't get in their trucks. Don't believe them when they say you're being evacuated. If you survive, be careful who you tell, because they are watching, always watching, and they'll do anything to keep their experiment secret. My name is Ethan Cross. I used to be a mechanic in Ravenbrook, a city the government now says never existed. I'm 35 years old, and I know I'm probably going to die writing this. But if it saves just one person, then maybe all the nightmares, all the names I couldn't save, won't be in vain. Maya just walked into the room. She told me to stop, to delete it all. She's scared. So am I. But I'm hitting save, and I'm uploading it to every anonymous server I can find. If you hear the warning, run. If they come for you, fight. And if you can't escape, at least know the truth. You aren't the victims of an invasion. You are test subjects. Don't let them forget us. Don't let Ravenbrook be erased. Remember us. Ethan Cross.